Yo, what's good, everybody? How y'all doing after a fantastic weekend in Indy for football? We're talking about the NFL Combine. What we're talking about is the biggest risers and fallers, winners and losers, whatever you want to call it, of the Combine. We're going to try to go by position group, just kind of all list off who I thought increased their stock, I guess I should say, or some people who might have decreased their stock, didn't look too great out there athletically or in the drills, whatever it was. Starting with the quarterbacks, and before we get into the actual participants, this whole Caleb Williams thing right now is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know why people are holding on or like trying to hate on this man so much. Just let the man do what he wants to do. It is not that big of a problem that he only wants to give his medical slash like physical test to the teams that actually want to draft him or are interested. It makes sense. Like, I understand doing it for all 32 NFL teams, whatever, but like it is not that big of a deal. Same thing with not participating, because guess what? Drake May and Jaden Daniels didn't participate either. So I haven't heard anything on them outside of like one person. One of the reporters at the combine say, I don't know why you wouldn't, as a quarterback, just come out here and throw at least, which I do agree with, but they want to do it at their pro day. They were, all three of them were out there. They were cheering on their teammates. They were cheering on receivers. They were cheering on quarterbacks. They were all three out there doing their thing. So let's actually get into the quarterbacks who I thought really gave a boost to their stock, starting with Michael Penix Jr. Going into this, the physical was the question, and the physical came back great. I didn't hear anything from the physical and medical testing that it came back red flag. I'm pretty sure it came back all good. Came in at 6'2", 216. Huge hands. And I thought he was probably the best quarterback in the on-the-field drills. I don't think he did any of the – he didn't do any of the athletic testing. But the on-the-field drills, he looked comfortable. He had a ton of velocity and zip on the ball. Daniel Jeremiah was highlighting it all day. The spin on his spiral is incredible. Threw tight spirals all day, threw a good long ball when they were running the deep routes. He looked pretty awesome, and I think he kind of just solidified himself as, quarterback that someone might trade up for in the back end of the first round or wait until the start of round 2 on day number 2 and come up and get Michael Penix. But the other quarterback that I thought did pretty well was J.J. McCarthy. And maybe some people were like, oh, look, he's inaccurate. He's, not putting the ball where you're supposed to. But he had some really good reps. He apparently did great in the interviews. I remember there was a clip that I think Rich Eisen or Daniel Jeremiah said, or no, it was a reporter, Stacey Dales. She had said that an NFL scout told her J.J. McCarthy has the most translatable traits and mechanics for the guys that were out there participating. And I think that speaks volume. I guess he did do 3-cone and 20-yard shuttle, but we know how athletic J.J. McCarthy is. 9-inch hands, so no Kenny Pickett, kitten mittens jokes to be had. Came in at 219, and I think Michigan listed him at 203 at the start of this season, so that was big, I thought. I think that definitely helped him. Didn't hurt him by any means, that's for sure. Almost up to 220. But let's move to some quarterbacks that I did not think had the best day, starting with Spencer Rattler, and it was really just one thing for me. I mean, he was kind of just middle of the pack in the drills, but I really thought he was going to run faster than a 4.95. I respect him for doing all the drills. He, literally did every single one at the bench press, obviously, like you can see. But I thought he was going to be like middle 4.7s, maybe low 4.8. Came out at 4.95. I mean, he's going to be a day 3 guy, someone that a team is going to take a shot on. So I don't think it hurts his stock too much, but I do think people thought he would have ran a little bit faster. But you know what? Mahomes ran, a 4.7, 4.8, and he runs past guys all the time. So don't take too much stock into it because these guys start in a track stance. So, like, they're not used to that. This is purely, like, if you're an athlete, you're going to show out in this. And Rattler's a quarterback, and I think we kind of knew that. Biggest faller, for sure, I don't know for me, but probably for a lot of other people, was Sam Hartman. Just very mediocre. I just don't think he has an NFL arm. I think he could be a good backup. We know he's a very good leader, so he could be a good team chemistry type of guy as a backup, running scout team. If your starting quarterback gets injured, he can come in for you and at least manage the game, but doesn't have a lot of velocity. He definitely does not have the biggest arm in this class. He kind of showed that on his deep balls, just a lot of air and not a lot of distance. So, I mean, I like the guy. Like I said, all I've heard about his personality is he's a fantastic leader and a great locker room guy. So someone might want to take a chance in like the 7th round or as an undrafted free agent. So moving on to the running backs, and the top 2 guys here in the 40-yard dash, Isaac Guerendo and Jaylen Wright, stole the show. Quickly, though, I will highlight Trey Benson running 4.39 might have solidified himself as running back 1 in this class because Jonathan Brooks has the ACL injury. But this is not about him. I did want to say that, though. Isaac Guerendo, I did not expect this man to run a 4.33 at all. I expected probably like middle 4.4, 4.45. But holy crap, man. He lit up the athletic testing. Almost an 11-foot broad jump, 41.5 vert, 1.55 second 10-yard split, 4.33. Like, this dude killed it all day. And he looked decent in the drills as well. So he was fantastic. He definitely upped his stock. Unfortunately, for my guy, Jawar Jordan, that I had in the top 10 running backs video, go check that out if you haven't already. He did not run as well as I thought. He had a 4.56. Lucky Irvin with a 4.55, but we kind of know he's kind of a more twitchy guy, so you're not going to expect him to run like long distance super fast. But he did come in at 192, so even a little lighter than we thought. I think I had him as 195 in my running back video, but he had a good day as well. And like I said, Jaylen Wright, who we'll get to in a second, because I do want to highlight Blake Corum running a 4.53, probably puts him in a top 5 running back conversation. Just going to put that out there. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes at the end of day 2. But let's get to Jaylen Wright, who we all knew going into this was going to show for the running back class. He ended up not stealing the show, but he did fantastic. 4.38 with a 1.55 10-yard split, 38-inch vertical, over 11-foot broad jump, just explosive and speed for days. He looked really good in the drills as well. And from all accounts, what we've been hearing is this dude is in conversation to be even the first running back taken off the board. Probably the second or the third, though. Definitely shot up boards. Coming in at 5'10.5", 210. He can be a 3-down starter for sure at that size. And then running a 4.38 as well, or along with that 11-foot broad jump, he's a top 5 running back in this class now. No doubt about it. So guys that did not really help their stock. Obviously, Jawar Jordan, I was a little bit disappointed with as just kind of a fan of his. But Amani Bailey and Cody Schrader running 4.61s. I thought Bailey was going to be in the 4.5s. I don't know. He was outside top 10 because I was kind of unsure. Just a one-year starter. Didn't really know what he could bring. And then he comes in at 5'7", 202. runs a 4.61. I mean, the vert isn't like crazy good. Broad jump isn't either. Like, you could go either way with it, but I was not very impressed. And at 5'7", just over 200 pounds, he is not going to be a 3-down back. So, and Cody Schrader, obviously at Missouri, he had a fantastic year. And we kind of knew he didn't have the top end speed or the real twitchiness. So this kind of just, solidified those kind of worries about him as a prospect, I guess you could say. And then Dylan Johnson running a 4.68. I did not expect him to be second slowest among this running back group. Didn't test out well in either of the vertical or broad jumps either. Just not the best day, but I still have faith in Dylan Johnson. I didn't hear about his physical or like medical testing because he's another one that he had injuries all season long at UW that hopefully are cleaned up by now. And then Audric Estime running a 4.71. I would not take too much stock in it because drafting him, you're getting a workhorse, just absolute bruiser of a back in Estime. I would not put too much stock in that 4.71. I think he actually plays faster than a 4.71. Moving on, Mr. Record holder now with a 4.21 40-yard dash, Xavier Worthy out of Texas, horns down, but horns up this weekend. My goodness, him and his teammate A.D. Mitchell, they had themselves a day on Saturday. Maybe both solidifying themselves in the first round or at least early second round, because with a 4.21 40, you're going to get drafted. It just is what it is. That's how it's gone, and he was already a good prospect coming into this. One thing I will say, though, is coming in at 165, and we thought he would come in at about 175, was a little bit concerning. I would like to see him get back up to like closer to 180 before the draft. Maybe even at his there's no way he can do that by the time of his pro day. But by like preseason, get back up to like 180. That will make me feel a lot better about Xavier Worthy as a prospect and his future in the NFL. But like I said, the 4.21 was absurd. He had a 41-inch vertical to go along with it, 10-foot, 11-inch broad jump. This dude, just everything that he did on Saturday was incredible. But let's also get to his teammate, Adonai or A.D. Mitchell, running a 4.3 4.40. And I love that he went out and just proved himself. Did come in a little bit shorter than we might have thought. He was listed at 6'4" at Texas, came in 6'2" and like 3/8 inch or something. I can't remember the exact measurement. 205 though, that's a great size. That's an prototypical X receiver size in the NFL. And then he runs a 4.3 4.40, 1.52 10-yard split. That's a really good 10-yard. Good vertical and broad jump scores as well. And then I thought he was one of the better looking receivers in the on-field drills. He had very crisp and like controlled routes. So good on you, A.D. Mitchell. I already had a first-round grade on him anyways. I will say Brian Thomas running a 4.33 at, I believe, 6'3", 210 is absurd. So Tez Walker running a 4.36. Glad to see he kind of lifted his stock up again after his kind of iffy Senior Bowl, you could say. Jacob Cowing, Roman Wilson, we kind of saw these come in. Ladd McConkey with under a 4.4 40 really rises him up. He might be a first-round pick as well. He was one of the better on-the-field drills receivers at the Combine as well on Saturday. Just really crisp, smooth route runner. If you want a slot receiver that can get open and get a lot of separation, look no further than these two guys, Roman Wilson and Ladd McConkey, man. They were exceptional, and they have been all offseason. Xavier Legette as well out of South Carolina. We knew he was going to have a great weekend, and he did. People were calling him the next coming of DK Metcalf. Maybe not quite, but he, in his own right, he was fantastic this weekend. 4.39 40. He came in at, was it 220, 230? 221. Decent size hands, 6'1". I think South Carolina listed him at like 6'3", so a little bit shorter, but not too worried about that. 1.54 10-yard as well. Money. Absolutely money. And then the explosiveness in the vertical and the broad jump really showed as well. Just great weekend. I still have my questions with Legette, or Leggett. I don't really know how you actually say it, but I think I'm close enough. Sorry if I'm butchering it. But to me as a route runner, I'm not too sure yet if he can actually do it in the NFL. Obviously, run after the catch ability, impeccable. The dude is hard to bring down. I'll give you that. But getting open is kind of still my question mark with Legette. Another guy I want to get to who is kind of down the list here. Also, Luke McCaffrey running a 4.46. He was one of the better receivers there as well. Might be close, if not already, a top 100 guy. Brendan Rice running a 4.5 solidifies himself in that early day 3 category at the minimum, in my opinion. But Keon Coleman, the 4.61 40 is very blinding. If you didn't watch, you're gonna be like, oh my god, 4.61 40 for a wide receiver? Like, that's just play him at tight end. No. This guy, he might have had the best line gauntlet drill of anyone there. I would actually say he did. He was running close to 20 miles an hour the entire length of the field, trusting his hands, all hands catches, no body catches, did not slow down at all. He was fantastic in the drills. Plus, he had a 1.5 for 10-yard split. And if you go back and watch his film at Florida State, you can see the explosiveness jump off the tape. It's like he's got great hands, man. He's got great play speed. They had him back at punt return for a reason down there. Keon Coleman actually upped his stock this weekend for me because he was starting to fall down a little bit. This definitely brought him right back up to that fringe first round, early second round grade for me. But some guys that didn't do too well were, for me, where is he? It's really just one guy that I kind of have a big loss on the weekend, and it's Troy Franklin, who, he ran a 4.41. Again, a little bit blinding because he ran a 1.61 10-yard split. It's a little concerning, just a little bit. On the field drills as well were a little bit questionable. The gauntlet drill was the exact opposite, actually, of Keon Coleman, who we just talked about. He was all over the place, slowing down, speeding up, slowing down. He had a drop in that drill, I believe, too. He had a couple other drops in other drills. The route running didn't look that great. I was left kind of confused, honestly, from Troy Franklin. But I'm going to wait for his pro day to really, see where he sits. I don't know when the Oregon pro day is, but hopefully he looks a little bit better in the routes than he did here in Indy. On to the tight end, and two guys actually that I said would up their stock this weekend did in a big way. Devin Culp, 4.47, 40-yard dash. Granted, he is definitely a little bit lighter than most of the tight ends here. But hey, man, this man out of Spokane, Washington, that's my hometown, man. I got a rep for this guy. He was awesome this weekend. Maybe a little bit just above average in the on-field drills, but that 40 really put his name on the map. So good for you, Devin Culp. The two guys that really just blew me away, though, I should say three. Theo Johnson at 6'6", 250, 260, whatever it was, running a 4.57 40-yard dash, and then all his agility and explosive drills were insane. He looked great in the on-field drills. And then Tip Ryman out of Illinois definitely moved up my board a ton. Probably moving up a lot of other people's boards as well. He could be close to that top 100 or 100 range and contesting for a top 5 tight end spot in this league. And then Ben Sinnott out of Kansas State had a fantastic weekend. He had a great Senior Bowl. We know he kind of plays that H-back role at Kansas State, but I think he could be a traditional tight end as well. One of the better blocking tight ends in this class, if not the best. I mean, a 40-inch vert is incredible. At 6'4", 250, 10'6" broad jump, 6.82 3-cone. He had a great weekend, man. He might be tight end 3 when everything is said and done. And unfortunately, my boy Dallin Holker, man. He looked good in the on-field drills, but a 4.78 40-yard dash is not exactly what we were looking for. I still really like Holker. He might have fallen outside of the top 100, though, and moved into a day 3 grade just with the athletic stuff, which really, really sucks. On to the offensive linemen, the Hog Mollies, baby. And can we just say, Tanner Bortolini, what a freaking day, man. He was flying everywhere. I mean, a 4.28 20-yard shuttle, 4.94 40-yard dash, 1.69 10-yard split. This guy can get out there. He can pull for you. We know that now. Number 1, obviously, in the athleticism score among tight ends. Just what a weekend. He looked really good in the on-field drills as well. Probably within that top 100 range. He might go in day 2. As maybe in round 2. I'm thinking more probably round 3 later in that day 2. But he had a fantastic weekend. The 4.94 was just the start of his day on Sunday. Another guy that I thought was the best offensive lineman there, Troy Fatanu out of Washington. I have no idea now if they're going to play him at tackle. They list him as tackle here. I kind of figured that they were going to move him inside to guard. I still don't know. Why not try this guy out, though, at tackle? You might as well, because he is athletic as hell. I'm serious. He looked like the best offensive lineman out there in the drills, in the athletic testing. He was incredible. Cooper Beebe solidified top 100 grade for me, along with Christian Haynes. Christian Haynes is a dog, man. Loved him at the Senior Bowl. The on-field drills just put pen to paper that this man is going. He will be gone before probably pick 50. I would honestly bet. Joel probably solidified himself as offensive tackle 1 this weekend. Almost 6'9", 320 pounds, dude. And he ran a 5.05 40. What? 34-inch arms as well. You are not reaching this man. 10-inch hands. If he gets his hands on you, man, it is over. And he looked great in the drills as well. So did Bo Limmer. I want to get to this other guy, though. I definitely went past him. Tyler Guyton, by the way, I was a little bit disappointed. Looked all right in the drills. Definitely wasn't the worst there. He was definitely kind of in the middle of the pack, maybe a little bit above. I loved Christian Mahogany, what he showed. Where Amarius Mims, here we go. 5.07 40-yard dash at 6'8", 340 pounds. 36-inch arms, 11-inch hands. That is absurd measurements. I don't have the RAS like thing pulled up. I wish I did. I'm pretty sure all those measurements are within like the 98th percentile of any offensive tackle prospect ever, at least since the combine like started. And then 1.78 10-yard, over 9-foot broad jump. Like, you should not be able to do that at 340 pounds. Definitely in that OT4, maybe even OT3 conversation now after this weekend. We'll have to see him at his pro day where he can put even more things on tape. And I'm looking at Mason McCormick here. The South Dakota State boys, him and Garrett, is it Greenfield? Yeah, they put on a show. Garrett Greenfield had, I believe, the highest vertical in combine history for an offensive tackle this weekend. So he's moving himself up boards. McCormick looked really good as well in the drills. And I think that's about it for guys I want to highlight for winners. Looking at, some losers here, though. Olu Fashanu, him pulling up and getting injured on that second 40, I think really is going to hurt his stock. Still ran a really good 40, though, by the way. But the 8.5-inch hands is a little bit concerning. And other guys like Talise Fuaga, who also had a really good day, I forgot to mention him. Fuaga might be OT2 for the majority of people. Olu Fashanu is kind of slip into that J.C. Latham, Amarius Mims conversation. And it's definitely one to be had. Because he came in at 6'6", 312. The arms are fine, but the hands are just a little bit small. And you can tell on tape sometimes as well, he kind of struggles with like holding blocks. That might be why. But we'll see. He's still a fantastic prospect, so I'm not going to put too much stock into that. Pooney had a decent day. Outside of that, though, I think we will move on to the defensive end / edge rushers. Dallas Turner, man. I've had Leatu Latu as my edge one and defensive player number one basically this entire process until Friday happened. Dallas Turner put on a freaking show, dude. What did he come? 6'3", 240, I believe he came in at. 247. Ran a 4.46 with a 1.54 10-yard split. 40-inch vert. Almost just 10'7" broad jump, man. He was incredible. He is now, actually, I moved him up my board. He is my top defensive player in this class. He's twitchy. He's got great movement skills. He was awesome in the on-field drills. What a weekend. Dallas Turner, along with Chop Robinson, I could say the same things as Dallas Turner. Chop Robinson is a first-round player for me, without a doubt. As we move to some other guys, I will say Jared Verse solidified that top 15 grade, I would say. Mohamed Kamara, that 4.57 is awesome from him. He is a little bit undersized, though, so that is still kind of the question. At 6'1", glad the hands came in closer to 9 inches, and I guess the arms actually were a little bit longer than I expected, so that is good. And then 23 reps on the bench press, which I think was one of the better for the edge class. But really like him as a prospect. He is a top 100 guy for me. If you haven't paid attention to my channel or this is the first time you're seeing it, go back to my other videos. I absolutely love Mo Kamara. He is a superb pass rusher, and if you watch the on-field drills, when they were doing the spin and rush drill or whatever, where they smack one, spin off another, smack one, and then bend around. Dude, the pop in that man's hands. Him and Jared Verse, and I would say probably Chris Braswell as well. Those three murdered those bags, man. I would not want to be one of those bags with them flying at me. Talking about Chris Braswell, though, definitely a day 2 guy. Flirting with top 50, for sure. One of the better power rushers in this class. And he showed some great athleticism this weekend, too. Got under that 1.6, 1.62 mark for edge rushers that you want to be under. So very good weekend by him. Latu, I believe, ran a 4.64, and I think he had a 1.64 or 1.62 10-yard. So just marks off, checks the boxes. One of the better, is probably the most technical pass rusher in this class. One of the best polished pass rushers for sure. Jaylen Hunt out of Houston Christian University, man. He had a fantastic weekend. Definitely back end of the draft type of guy, but 6'4", 252, 34-inch arms, 10-inch hands. Get some pop in those hands, man. But what a weekend. Got that 1.6 number, had a really good vert and broad jump, 19 on the bench press. Great weekend for a guy out of a smaller university that I probably wouldn't have looked into if he wasn't here. So I'm glad he was. Miles Cole, Texas had an insane weekend, man. This is just one of the guys that we will get to. 6'6", 280 pounds almost 10-inch hands, 36-inch arms. Those measurables are insane. Literally, bro. And then for him to run a 4.67 with a 1.65 10-yard, good on you, man. Broad jump was really good. Vertical was good. Just want to see a little bit more at the pro day with drills. I want to see some more technique from him. My guy Brendan Jackson running a 4.69. That was awesome to see. I didn't know he had that speed in him. Braylon Trice running a 4.72. A little bit disappointing, but we know that he's not one of the more athletic guys in this class. Still a really good prospect. Might have fallen out of the first round with that testing. I expected a little bit more from Adisa Isaac, to be honest, from athletic testing wise. Marshawn Nealon looked really good in the drills. Looked pretty technical with his pass rushing ability. I was a little bit disappointed with Austin Booker. There was a lot of hype around him. Runs one of the slower 40s. But, I mean, it is. I want to see him at his pro day, going through some of, and then we can get a better understanding of what this guy is as a prospect. And then Dorless and Darius Robinson, kind of unfair to put them in this group of a bunch of just athletic freaks at the edge class. These two are DNs. They will be playing on the line, not like off-ball linebackers like the rest of these guys. So 4.85 and a 4.95, those are good numbers for those two. They had good weekends. On to the defensive tackles in the top 5 here. Money. Absolutely money weekends. I loved what I saw from Mekhi Wingo. Got what I expected out of Byron Murphy, to be honest. Braden Fiske, though. Oh my goodness. Have an off season, man. He was incredible at the Senior Bowl. And then he comes to Indy and he's like, watch this, bro. 6'4", 292. Little short on the arms, but the testing was incredible. He looked great in the on-field drills as well. Just do what you got to do, man. He looked really good. Surefire top 100 player. Easy. I think same thing with Mekhi Wingo. Rook from Clemson. I'm not even going to try to say his name this time. Looked really good. He was one of my players to watch coming into this combine. And he showed us why. Still a little bit raw just as a player, but definitely someone that is worth taking a chance on. Chris Jenkins we knew would shine, and he did. Just put it all on display. He really did. I think he definitely could be a top 50 player. For me, probably around that top 75 area. But 29 on the bench press for reps is really good. 4.78 20-yard shuttle is really good. But outside of that, pretty good weekend for these defensive tackles. A guy I want to get to that was a little bit disappointing. Also, Jaden Crumity had a really good weekend. Mississippi State defensive tackles, they know how to put them out. Mason Smith was definitely a little bit disappointing. Kind of, I know at 6'5" it's hard to stay low, but in the on-field drills, he just looked a little bit stiff at times and didn't show the athleticism that I know and a lot of us know he has. Hopefully at his pro day, they can go through him again, be a little bit looser. The pressure's off. You're in somewhere that you're comfortable, and he can show what he's really all about because I think he has a lot of potential. To the linebackers we go. First of all, Edgerrin Cooper, linebacker 1, the only linebacker, in my opinion, that I think could and should be taken in the first round if a team is really needing a linebacker is Edgerrin Cooper. All questions that you might have been answered. Athletic, rangy, fluid movement, just anything that you want in a modern day linebacker. But Payton Wilson is by far the biggest winner of this linebacker class. Came in from everything I know, medical and physicals, whatever you want to call it, all clear. Got the green flag. Nothing came up, so that is good. Kalen DeLoach had a really good weekend. These Florida State players, man, we'll get to a couple of them in the cornerback group, had a great weekend. Trevin Wallace, didn't think he was that fast. Definitely improved his stock quite a bit. Had good vertical and broad jump as well. Came in at 6'1", almost 240. That's a modern day linebacker size. It is, and I think he has the ability to stay with some of these NFL running backs out of the backfield as well. So good on you, Trevin Wallace. Definitely went up and rose up some boards. Jordan McGee out of Temple. I had heard a lot of good things about him. I haven't really looked into him a ton, but I heard a lot of good things, and he came out and did his thing. Like 1.54 10-yard is really good. Same with the 4.55 40. I mean, fourth athleticism score among this linebacker class, really good. He looked good in the drills as well. 32-inch arms, so he's got some length to him. Definitely a guy I would consider in that early day 3 area if I was a team. Edufon Ulufosio out of Washington. Every time I looked at up at the TV, this guy was popping off my screen, so I have to put him in here. Had a really good 40, really good vertical, really good broad jump. He killed it, man. He really did. Going into this, I did not think he was that type of an athlete, and he proved me wrong. Man, he really did. Would have liked to see Cedric Gray run a little bit faster, but that kind of is what it is. Same thing with Aaron Casey. I didn't think he would run a 4.75, but I think he looked decent in the on-field drills. Easton Gibbs, a guy that a lot of people were surprised with. He looked good in the drills, and his split was really good. The vertical and the broad weren't great. He's not this super explosive guy, but that 10-yard, we'll have to wait for the Wyoming Pro Day, but Easton Gibbs could definitely be a little bit of a sleeper in that 5th to 7th round range for sure. On to the cornerbacks, and I'm going to start with the losers here. Went a little too far. Kalen King, dude. I feel bad because I like Kalen King, but not a great draft process for the man out of Penn State. Came in at 5'11", 191 and ran a 4.61 40. The split's all right. By all accounts, though, he's probably going to be playing safety or slot corner in the NFL. Most likely will not be on the outside. But, hey, I could be wrong. But I would imagine he's probably going to be a safety at the next level. I know Daniel Jeremiah was talking about that a lot. Kool-Aid McKinstry, my other kind of big loser of this cornerback group, that is purely based off the fact that it was found that he had that foot fracture. It wasn't even the injury, though, that really concerns me with him. It's the fact that these top two guys, Quinyon Mitchell, Nate Wiggins, and then his teammate Terrion Arnold, 3 of the top 5 corners in this class, and then Rakestraw, top 6 if you want to add him. So 4 out of the top 6 corners were out there, and they all put on a show. Wiggins had a fantastic 40, got injured on the second run, but Quinyon Mitchell, like, another insane day for him at the combine, looked really good in the drills. He has another gear, man. When he gets going, he is flying around that field. Terrion Arnold looked really good, fluid movement skills in the drills. Rakestraw had, I believe, a 4.5 440. Looked good in the drills, though. Nice, lengthy cornerback. He'll be a late round 1, early day 2 type of guy. But for Kool-Aid, I think it puts him out of even being close to the cornerback 1 conversation. So someone's going to get a steal, but it definitely does drop him down boards, not being able to participate. I think like that's basically my biggest reason of why he's one of the bigger losers in this whole weekend, is literally just because he couldn't participate. Because I think if he could, he would have shined. But moving on to some other guys, Camarion Richardson, or however you say that, was absurd. I mean, testing numbers. 6'2", almost 190 pounds, 32-inch arms, with a 4.3, 440, 35-inch vertical, 10'8" broad jump. Looked really good in the drills as well. He could be someone who's a sleeper inside the top 100 without a doubt because of that length and the range. Could be a solid outside corner for someone, and someone who I'd watch out for in the late day 2 or round 2, late round 2, early round 3 area. He might go higher than a lot of people think. And then, like I said, the Florida State guys, Renardo Green, who I believe is down the list a little bit. Yeah, ran a 4.49, still really good. And Jarian Jones, both of them were incredible in the on-field drills. Obviously, both ran really good 40 times as well. Max Melton, playmaker. He was flying around everywhere, had a really good 40, over 40-inch vertical, 11'4" broad jump. Just insane. And at 5'11", 32-inch arms, that's pretty good for a 5'11" corner, almost 190 pounds. He definitely rose up some boards. If you had any questions about him, that is. Chris Abrams-Drain, really good 40 time. Mike Sanderstill solidified himself as the number 1 slot corner in this class. I think we kind of already knew that, though. And like I said, Terrion Arnold, 4.5, 40. Looked really good in the on-field drills. Miles Harden out of South Dakota University. I'm going to have to go watch some film on him because he could be a really good slot corner for someone in the future. I really liked what I saw from him. The arms are a little bit short. All of the drills, I mean, the agility, 3.98 20-yard shuttle is fantastic. Under a 6.93 cone as well. Just tested out really well. And then in the on-field drills, looked really good. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to go and watch some South Dakota tape. Cam Hart and Kyrie Jackson, some more bigger physical corners, running a 4.5, 40. Solid. And there's Rakestraw and Josh Newton. I think that for Josh Newton was really good. Go Cougs, Shao Smith Wade, 4.54. A little bit slower than I thought, but is what it is. Ryan Watts had a pretty good weekend. Like I said, these Texas guys were flying around everywhere. I mean, I didn't even mention T'Vondre Sweat ran like a 5.17 or something at 360 pounds or whatever it was. But 40-inch vert, over 10-foot broad jump, 4.13, 20 yards, pretty good. A lot of people think he might move to safety. I don't know after this weekend. He probably could still play outside corner as like a press corner in it'd have to be a specific scheme. Like someone would have to want him to be that type of guy for it to work. And lastly, but certainly not least, on to the safeties. DTD, Dadrian Taylor Demerson, and these Texas Tech boys in the safety class were awesome. 4.41 for DTD. Had really good testing numbers. Looked good in the on-field drills as well. He can play safety. He can come down playing the slot. I think really good numbers there for him. Cole Bishop, by far, was the biggest riser among this safety class. With a safety class that we also don't know really who the number one safety is anymore. Because we'll get to someone in a second out of the U who I was a little bit disappointed with. But at 6'2", 206, Cole Bishop running a 4.45 40 with a 1.52 10-yard split, that was surprising. I did not see that coming. So, and he looked really good in the on-field drills. He's definitely in tension for safety one. Definitely. Along with guys like Javon Bullard and Kalen Bullock, who had really good weekends as well. Kalen Bullock at 6'3", so really rangy. Glad he was under 4.5. Dominique Hampton looked really good. Out of Washington, definitely a box safety type of guy. That's where he likes playing, going downhill. 33-inch arms, tested out really, really well. Again, just like his teammate Ulu Foshio. Jeez, I butchered that so hard. I'm so sorry. The linebacker, just like him though. Every time I looked up at the safeties in their drills, it seemed like Hampton was just balling out. 4.55 for Proctor's actually not bad. Thought he might have run closer to 4.6. And then we get to the two Miami boys running a 4.65. Not great. Really was not great. Thought Cam Kitchens would run in the 4.5s. Not even close. Which sucks. I still think on tape, though, Cam Kitchens is still a fantastic player. But the athletic numbers and testing does not help his case. And then James Williams, I highlighted him in my players to watch. Thought he would test out a little bit better. He's definitely a linebacker, though. And at 6'5", running a 4.65, I'm just fine with it if he ends up being a linebacker. Sione Vaki, running 4.62. I think he plays faster than that. I still don't know what he's going to be, though. Are you a running back? Are you a safety? Are you going to do both? Like, what is it? 1.54 10-yard, though, is really good. So glad to hear that from him. But this safety class is very, very interesting. Not really sure where to go with it. And then there was a guy that didn't actually record 40-yard. It was the man who almost tied the NFL, I should say world record, I believe, actually, but NFL combine record for broad jump at 12 foot 2 inches. The only man to jump farther, Byron Jones out of UConn a while ago. 12 foot 2 and then a 41-inch vert. For a man who doesn't believe in space, I might start believing him because it looks like gravity does not affect this dude. I wish we would have been able to see a 40 because I'm sure it would have been off the charts. But at 6'2", 216, a guy that is definitely a little bit of a sleeper. Hopefully we can get a 40 from him at the Texas Tech Pro Day. Holy man. What a weekend for the NFL and the NFL draft. Who did you think was your biggest riser of the weekend? Please let me know down in the comments below, and I will hopefully have a post-combine NFL mock draft. 2 rounds coming out really, really soon, maybe even tomorrow. So see you guys for that one or whatever video is next. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one, and peace.